Marcel, where are you going with that disc? You are not putting that on again. Marcel, okay, if you press that button, you are in very, very big trouble.
Attention. Everybody stop what you're doing. It's time for The Unwritten Rule, a Mizzou sports podcast brought to you by the Believe Network, alongside Payton Haverman and Kenny Van Doren. Here is your host, Jack Knowlton.
Welcome back to The Unwritten Rule. It is just me, Payton here. Jack Slack Knowlton, as we've come to call him, is unavailable, as is Kenny. So I am just going to be flying solo here with a bit of breaking news. Mizzou basketball's long-winded GM search has finally come to an end, it appears, and it is a name that is going to be very familiar to Mizzou fans. Tim Fuller, a former Mizzou assistant coach. He was at Mizzou under Frank Haith. He was at Mizzou from 2011 to 2015, I believe were the exact years. He was an assistant there. He was actually briefly the interim head coach when Haith was serving a suspension in 2013. Fuller was able to lead the Tigers to a 5-0 record in some bye games there. And he's returning to Columbia to be the new general manager, the first general manager of the Missouri Tigers basketball program. Credit to Mark J. Spears on Twitter, or on X, sorry, the Everything Act. It all happens on X. He was the first one to break this news. Again, long winding search. I know a lot of people were kind of hoping for maybe someone with, like, maybe a Mizzou alum, maybe someone that has been around the university forever. It is someone that is familiar with Columbia, familiar with the university, has plenty of ties to Mizzou, but not quite in the way I think a lot of people expected. This isn't like an alumni. It's not a former player or anything like that. I think that really is more of an assistant GM thing you do. It's kind of like what you've seen with Trae Young at Oklahoma, Steph Curry at Davidson. They're assistant GMs. I don't think a real GM role is kind of something you just give to an alum to give to an alum. Mark Spears does say in his report that his focus is strategic planning, roster construction, alumni engagement, agent relations, and NIL optimization. None of that should come as a surprise. I mean, Jack in particular has just really kind of hammered home what the kind of expectations were probably going to be for this role. So that's kind of what I think we can expect. It kind of lets Dennis Gates step back, be more of the head coach. Obviously, Dennis Gates is still going to have plenty of say over who's on his roster, who they target and everything. But the hope, I'm sure, is that Fuller makes life a whole ton easier for the staff in general. Fuller, for the last few years, I believe since 2023, has been actually an assistant coach at Providence under former Mizzou basketball player Kim English. Kim English and him, of course, intersected at Missouri from, I believe, 2010 to 2012. So some familiarity there. He had been kind of out of, like, specifically being an assistant coach until his stint at Providence. Mark Spears does point out he's also worked with Nike and Overtime Elite. So those are two areas you really kind of like to see the GM role have ties. Obviously, that's just kind of how recruiting is nowadays. It's about who you know a lot of the time. So it would I think it does behoove Mizzou to get a guy like Tim Fuller that likely has plenty of agent and just plenty of other connections just around the game. And Dennis Gates, obviously he was going to be the buck probably stopped with him in this search. He took plenty of time to get the right man. It is interesting that it is someone that spent more than half a decade, or just around half a decade, at the university before. And I mean, Frank Haith's staff, of course, kind of had a very turbulent time, I think is the best way to describe it. And Tim Fuller, of course, was on that staff. So That is interesting to me. I do wonder, just me personally, what the conversations were and how he kind of feels coming back to Columbia. Obviously, it wasn't rocky enough to prevent something like this from happening, but it is an interesting wrinkle. I think that it adds into things. Obviously, right now we have no idea how much this will truly affect things. I think, as we mentioned every time we brought up the GM, I think the GM is a very necessary thing in college athletics nowadays. It wouldn't shock me at all if the football team eventually goes that route as well. Drinkwitz did state he didn't want to do it yet, while they don't really know exactly how all of the just all the moving parts are going to fall into place eventually. But it wouldn't shock me if that's eventually the direction they go as well. But here it is. I mean, Tim Fuller is your new Mizzou men's basketball GM. He's the first one in school history. I'm sure Jack will have plenty to say about this. He is very interested in this stuff. We did just want to hop on and at least make sure that that we at least talked about the news a little bit. I know I'm kind of a bit of a rambler when it comes to this type of stuff. I'm clueless on a lot of these things as well, but I do think that this is at the very least going to allow Dennis Gates to kind of step back, be more of a head coach. We've seen at Mizzou, I mean, Drinkwitz finally gave up play calling duties. He stepped away from being hands-on in the QB room. He became more of a CEO head coach, and Missouri has benefited greatly in back-to-back seasons since he's done that. I mean, with double-digit wins. Hopefully we see a similar effect with Dennis Gates. Hopefully Tim Fuller takes some of that recruiting, NIL negotiations, agent relations, just getting in contact with alumni, all of that. Hopefully Tim Fuller can take a big burden off of Dennis Gates and allow him to be more of a CEO type of head coach. I think that would benefit everyone involved. It's a very interesting hire. Jack will have plenty more to say about it on Thursday, I'm sure, as will Kenny. We're also going to we're going to talk about a big visit weekend Mizzou football had just this past weekend. Hope maybe a couple commits in that time. We'll see. Nothing set in stone yet, but wanted to make sure that we at least got on here and had something about Tim Fuller, because it is a big deal. It's the first GM in Mizzou basketball history. It's the landscape in college athletics has truly changed forever. And Mizzou is trying to stay kind of ride the wave with everyone else. So with that, Kenny and I were able to hop on for quick hits, and we will throw that over to Jack's going to leave this in, and I'm going to look like a fool, but we're going to throw it over to quick hits now.
All right, quick hits time. We were going to do something with Jack for quick hits. There was going to be some quiz, Payton, and I, for the life of me, cannot remember it. He told me to
You
push it
can't
back.
remember it?
What was the quiz going to be?
It was going to be just photos of the transfers faces.
Oh, yeah, that was a good one. Yeah, okay, well, we're not going to be able to do that right now. I'm sorry if you just heard that clink, but I just thought about this because you're watching the Clemson baseball game right now and you saw the retired numbers. So
I don't think they're retired. I think they're just great players. They may be retired. Okay. I don't know much about Clemson baseball.
Well, Mizzou, as of 2017, has 6 jersey numbers retired, representing 7 players. And I wanted to see if you could name all 7 players. I can give you the numbers. I don't think it would help.
It won't help. It will not help.
Number 23 was split between a halfback and a cornerback. They overlapped for a couple of years.
Oh, this is 1960s.
Football. Yeah.
Okay, I thought you were talking about Mizzou baseball. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah, that'd be even harder.
I legitimately was going to start guessing Ian Bedell by the end. Okay, so the halfback cornerback is Roger Worley, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, he's the cornerback, but he split the number, so there's a halfback that had.
Oh, okay, too. Okay, gotcha. Boy, people are going to be mad at me because I'm not going to get all of these.
You're already off to a better start than I thought.
Well, Worley was like a phenom. That I've heard a lot about Worley. He's a lot of older fans' favorite player. I don't think they would have retired Olivo's number.
They did.
Wow, really? They
27.
retired Brock Olivo's number. That's
Not
I
the
didn't think-
halfback I was talking about, though.
Okay. Well, Olivo is actually a good shout because Mizzou football was real bad for a while, and Olivo was one of those players that helped bring it out. The halfback. Do you know when this guy played?
1962, 1964, and 1965.
No chance. I don't know.
Johnny Rowland.
Okay, yeah. I've heard that name. Wouldn't have guessed it here ever.
He was also 23 with Roger Worley.
Okay, that makes sense. So there's three names off the board, yeah?
Yeah, so this one's kind of funny. He was an end, like it's just like the non-traditional like defensive end because that's what they called it at the time, and then halfback. So it was 1940 to 1943. Number 37.
No idea. Who is it?
Is it Bob Stuber?
Never heard that name.
Okay.
I don't think.
A center from 1939 to 1941, number 42.
Good Lord. Teams had a nasty habit of just assuming football would be around for 50 years and just retiring every number of good players in the 30s and 40s. Who is this?
Daryl Jenkins.
Nothing. Got nothing.
1938 to 1940, a quarterback who wore 44.
God, 1930s? Are there any like actual like
Yeah, the next one you'll get.
modern players? I don't know. Who is this? I don't want to waste everyone's time.
This one is Paul Chrisman.
Okay, I actually know that name at least, but I wouldn't have guessed it here.
Next one, tight end from 1975 to 1978, number 83.
Winslow.
That is correct.
Yeah.
Looking at some other ones just on here, I'm on the honors and records.
There are some that really need to be
football.
retired that aren't.
Ed Travis, it says, this is College Hall of Fame. There's not really like an easy way to like find the official retired numbers that isn't outdated.
I mean, like Jeremy Macklin, I know he's like in the Ring of Honor and
Ring of
everything. He's got
Honor.
his name on the stadium, but that's a name that should have his jersey retired, I'd say. I think Brad Smith honestly has an argument. Jace Daniel, of course. I don't know that I'd say anyone from modern Mizzou teams, like I'm talking like Luther Burden, Cody Schrader, Brady Cook. Obviously, I don't think you'd retire any of their numbers. But it would be nice to see them maybe like if Mizzou kind of stays like at a consistent, 8 to 10 win level team consistently. It'd be nice to see that group of players get honored in some ways someday. None of them should get their number retired. I don't know if you'd put their name in the Ring of Honor. I don't think you really would do that because when you look at it, I mean, like Luther had like one really good year. His last year wasn't terrible, but it wasn't what everyone hoped for. Kind of same with Brady Cook. Cody Schrader might have an argument just because of his story. But I don't know. It would be nice to see that team honored, just that group honored in some way.
Yeah, you get to the point too that, like you said, like they probably thought football would only last 50 years, and you're getting to the point where there's just no need to retire numbers anymore. Put it in the Ring of Honor, just like guys wear it. I know it's weird to see another wide receiver wearing 3 this next season, but that's just a part of it. You have 105 guys on this football team. You're going to have number overlap pretty easily. Okay, moving on for the rest of quick hits. Kind of a quick quiz there. Looking at just some other things that are just going on in Mizzou sports right now. Mizzou softball getting active in the transfer portal, adding East Carolina transfer Emma Jackson. So this is the first commitment to Mizzou softball for this upcoming season.
Yeah, good numbers. I believe she bet over 320 at ECU. So actually looks like a very encouraging first commitment here. Of course, you got to see how they translate. I feel really bad. I don't remember her name, but Mizzou added a transfer that hit real well at UNI, Northern Iowa. Like was just a great player in the Missouri Valley. Didn't really translate to the SEC, but you gotta just start somewhere. I mean, Mizzou lost a lot in the portal. I mean, they lost Pinnell, they lost Walker. So there's a lot of riding on this next season for for Larissa Anderson and co. And I think this is, from the looks of it, a good first commitment.
Yeah, Jackson was in the top 100 players list for Softball America entering the 2025 season. She finished her junior campaign with 75 hits, 50 RBIs, and 13 homers. Like you said, Payton, 326 batting average, 178 at bats this past year at ECU, 58 hits, 9 doubles, with team highs in 53 runs, 54 RBIs, and 21 home runs. So good numbers across the board, just offensively, and just something that you need just when you're. I mean, it's almost like a reset too at some point, just with how poorly last season went.
Yeah, and I mean, I'd expect them to add like pitching as well. I mean, there's just a lot they have to add. And by the way, that the outfielder who I was talking about was Maya Dodge, who was a senior this year. But moving on, my Tiger in the Wild. I'm pleasantly surprised about mine. It's going to be Eli Drinkwitz, Kirby Moore, and Corey Batoon. They are in the game in College Football 26. College Football 25, of course, was a very successful return for the franchise. But one thing people were kind of hoping for that they didn't get were coaches in the game. And now we are getting that in 26. And Eli Drinkwitz, Kirby Moore, and Corey Batoon are in it. That's really cool to me. I'm thrilled about that. You see, there's other things you kind of want for Mizzou in the game as well. Truman, New Faro, like stuff like that. But I was not expecting Drinkwitz to sign off to be in the game. I'll be honest with you. I don't know really why I get that vibe. It just seemed like Drinkwitz would have been like, I don't want to be in a video game. That's nonsense. But I'm glad Drinkwitz put himself in the game. I think that's awesome.
When are we going to get like the recruiting staffers and the guys behind the scenes and the pass game specialists and the other ones that are on the roster that just aren't or on the staff and aren't just LSU and DC?
Yeah, if I'll tell you what, for someone that's like super into like kind of franchise and dynasty modes and all that, I'd love if they'd go even deeper with like position coaches and everything, and just have it as like an option to turn on and off. Like, yeah, dude, let me see Durham Cato at tight ends coach. Let me see Jacob Peeler talking to Kevin Coleman when he's coaching up the wide receivers. I think that'd be sick, but that will absolutely never, ever happen.
I think Jacob Peeler is in the booth.
Is he really?
I might be wrong about that. I could be wrong.
He definitely wasn't in 23.
Okay.
But maybe he was this past year, but he was not in 23.
You want to read this one from Jack?
Sure. Jack's Tiger in the Wild is going to be Moon Choi, friend of the show himself. This tweet comes from Eli Hoff, who, of course, does great work at the St. Louis Post-Dispatch. He tweeted, "Missed this amid all the other SEC meetings developments this past week," which, by the way, was pretty absurd. But UM system president and Mizzou chancellor Moon Choi is now the VP of the SEC's executive committee, and he'll become the president of that body in 2027. I don't know what that entails. I'll be completely honest. I have no idea what that means. But it seems important, and that's why it's in the show.
He's a friend of the show. That's all we can say. He's been on the show twice. That is probably more than any other student body show ever. So
probably two more.
Two more. Yeah. Headlines. This is a fun one just coming from Kyle. It got a lot of traction on social media yesterday, so thought I'd give it another bump. But Josh Manning is inspiring young players. I'm not going to go through the whole story because I'll let you read it and just kind of go through what Kyle worked on here. But the premise of it is that, a lot of the football players had the week off last week after going to Jamaica and having some time off, even the guys who didn't go, and had an opportunity to go home and, rest, do whatever you wanted. Big thing for Josh Manning going back to Lee Summit is that he was going to go and help out some kids. Like, he was going to go out and, work in some practices, some camps, and, give back to his community and give back to his high school at the same time. So just a staple for the past couple decades, or over a decade now, just at Lee Summit. And he went back, and Drinkwitz has always been such a big Manning guy, but he gave this one a repost as well. Just giving that a little boost. And I mean, it was a big recruitment to pull him away from Kansas State, and it looks like he's finally going to probably take that next step this year in the wide receiver room.
Yeah, I haven't read through this yet, but I did. I did see that it was on Twitter, kind of getting a lot of traction. It does seem like Mizzou just has a lot of high quality guys in the receiver room from the past few years. I mean, Drinkwitz, Luther, of course, did a whole ton of work with children's hospitals and everything like that. So I'm glad to see Josh Manning isn't just someone that's coming to Mizzou to, get paid handsomely in NIL. He's helping out other kids, and I think that's great.
Payton, what's your headline?
My headline, we're going to pivot from that nice story to a bit of trolling. Bing bong, Jackie. The Pacers race past Knicks to reach first NBA Finals in 25 years. That headline comes from Jamal Collier at ESPN. Oh, yes, it's true. It's damn true. The Indiana Pacers vanquish the New York Knicks, Jalen Brunson and the tricky Knicks, to advance to the NBA Finals. Halliburton is 4 games away, Jack. The best player in basketball history, I'd argue. Certainly the best player in the East right now. He's beaten the, quote, Greek Freak 2 years in a row, and now he's in the NBA Finals. Bing bong, Jackie. Bing bong.
Went to a vintage clothing store yesterday, and I didn't know they had a second. They had a second business down the road. The person was walking around asking, hey, you guys got any Pacers gear? Just looking for something for tonight. They didn't have anything. I didn't have the heart to tell them I bought the last Pacers shirt there 4 weeks ago. We go to the next place, and there was a jersey there. I forgot who the player was, but old jersey from the late 80s, to the mid 90s, something in that range. And the jersey didn't fit the guy, and I felt bad. And I was like, I told our friend Aaron that was with me. I said, Aaron, I could tell this guy he could come back to our house and buy it off me if he really wanted one. But Pacers are a fun team to follow. Been following them since I graduated college. Even going back, there's photos of Jack and myself at a Pacers game in 2019 when Jack was a Pacers fan. So there's good connections to that. To that team, and we're just going to keep enjoying it. And I know Jack isn't very happy, and he's going to be praying with the rest of the OKC fans before the games.
Bing bong.
All right, Jack's headline, not really a headline, couldn't even find one. Maybe Payton, if you want to look around right now and see if anyone's actually written about it. But former Missouri guard who went to East Tennessee State, Kurt Lewis, has committed to Southern Miss, another team in just a long list of his career. Played at Eastern Kentucky, played at a JUCO, at Johnny Logan, and then at Mizzou. So fourth team, probably his last, I think. I think this is his last year of eligibility because he got the final year due to injury because he only appeared in 8 games. But he only averaged 4.4 points, 2.5 rebounds, and 13.9 minutes per games in those 8 contests. And the 6'5" guard continues to trek on. You think he's older than us, Peyton?
I'm pretty sure he is. Boy, I mean, just one of the key relics of that 0-19 season. When you think of that 0-19 season, who are the first names that you think of? I don't think of Kurt Lewis first because he didn't play a whole ton. Yeah. I think of Jesus Carolero, and I think of Connor Vanover first. Not even Vanover doesn't really even Vanover was not good with Mizzou. But Jesus Carolero was I've never seen anything like it. That was just an overmatched player at every second he was on the court. Are
you talking players that didn't play is what you want me to say? Or because if the first...
No, I'm just curious who...
Nick Honor, Noah Carter, and Sean East. I think that's just the first 3 that come to mind because those were probably the 3 best players on that
3
team.
Guys that actually were useful for
contributors.
For a good team. You don't think of Jesus Carolero, who was just played a lot on a really bad team.
I said in May 2023 that I thought he was going to be a starter. I think I'm the basketball whisperer. He ended up being a starter, so I probably had the same vision as Dennis Gates and everyone else on that staff on what his ceiling could have been.
Boy, you and the staff seem to miss the mark on that one. Anyways, I got a joke for you, Kenny. This one comes from our favorite TV series, The Today Show. Kenny, what sounds like a sneeze and is made of leather?
That's a hard one.
Yeah, sounds like a sneeze and is made of leather. A shoe.
That's good. Yeah, I didn't. Man, it was probably easier than I thought.
No, I don't think many would have gotten that.
Okay. Well, if anyone got it, don't respond in the comments. I'm the only one who reads them. I don't like when you guys are smarter than me. Well, that's going to do it for this episode of Unwritten Rule. Happy birthday, Jack Knowlton. Hope everyone wishes Jack a happy birthday. He's 42, so really pushing it up these last couple of years. He just looks very young. Enjoy the week. We will see you next time on Friday.